In the previous lesson, we saw how we can apply some graphics, some customized text, and some customized graphics onto our objects to do a little bit of packaging or also like apparel design and fashion design, if you will. Now, in this video, we're going to continue with other tools, and we're going to see also some other software that can help us to create customized graphics and sometimes solve also problems like the seams and things like that. So this was the asset that we used in the other video, which was the jacket, and it was created with photogrammetry. So if we see the wireframe here, has a lot of triangles and also doesn't have a nice mapping, envelope mapping. Now, having a nice envelope mapping is really paramount to have the possibility to work not only in 3D but also in 2D and without problems. So I'm going to show you some other examples of objects. In this video, I'm going to use another website. Now, I'm also going to show you a little bit of GIMP, just as I did in the previous lesson, because this is a free open source graphic design software, can help you in many situations, also in fixing the texture when you have problems with tools like the clone tool or the patch and others that you can find also in Photoshop, of course, because this is the free alternative of Photoshop. But you find similar tools also in other applications like Canva or Pixlr, for example. This is an example of how we can create our customized textures in Pixlr. And we're gonna see then how we can download ready-made textures for our materials and how we can create quickly our own material with the textures. And before getting into that, just gonna move forward here, and there are some websites that you can use if you look for free textures on the web that can give you textures to create your materials. So this is one, for example, it's called Share Textures, and then this is another one here, it's called CC0 Texture. So you need to download, and you usually find a package containing all the different channels that you need to build up your materials, which are like the diffuse or the normal map or the roughness or the metallic. And again, we're gonna make some example. Now for this, actually I wanna use Polyhaven. And if you go in polyhaven.com, in the textures section, you have, again, a lot of textures you can use. And if you want to do more apparel design or fashion design, you probably want to go here in fabric, where you have these materials. And for example, I chosen this denim texture. So we can see here the preview, and then we have down here the possibility to see the other texture. Like this is the ambient occlusion, this is the diffuse, and that's the normal. Now, sometimes normal look like something like this, but you want to have like the purplish ones. You don't want to have those yellow. And then this is like the roughness. So by mixing these together, we're gonna get the material that we want, and it's gonna be tileable. So tileable means that it can be repeated many, many times. We can apply it throughout our model. So you probably wanna know how to do these textures if you want to do your customized textures. Otherwise, you can go in this websites and you can download it. In this case, to download it, we can choose the Blender format. We can open it directly in Blender. We can use the GLTF, or we can use the zip. Now, if you use the zip, you can choose which content you want to zip here. So for example, you can insert the scene in Blender or the GLTF 3D model or just the texture. So in this case, I don't want like to have all the textures, but I want to have like 2K resolution and only the I'll need the roughness and diffuse and normal. You can see you have two types of normals here, and then roughness. And then when you're ready, you can just click on download, and it will download the entire package, which is going to be zipped. So you need to extract. Always extract whatever you download, otherwise it won't be readable inside Substance. And so this is going to be another example we're going to do. And also, I'm going to show you how you can create quickly an image with an alpha channel, and basically removing the background. You can use any graphic design you want. You just need to remove the background, or either you do that or you choose a PNG file. So you can look for free PNG if you want, if you don't want to remove the background. But I'm going to show you how you can do that also. So for example, for a logo again, or for graphics. Now also, we talked about creating fonts. Now don't forget that you can download your custom sorry, you can download predefined fonts, or you can create your own using website like Calligraph. And by the way, you'll find videos and video courses and video guides explaining all these different apps in our channel. So look for them in the channel and you will find them. And you can download, again, free fonts. Just install them in your computer and they will be ready to be used in any software like Blender or any other, or Photoshop or whatever, GIMP. So if you want extra font, just go there, search for them, free font, download them, install them, and that's it. Now, to create our customized material, we need to have some support. For example, it's not difficult to create a roughness map or maybe some black and white map using a colored map, like a color texture. We can switch in black and white and then increase the contrast, and we're gonna see that. Well, it's more difficult to create normal maps, which are this purplish, but there are software out there. For example, Materialize, you can download and use Materialize, or there are also some online tool like Normal Map Online or Smart Normal. And you can see here, this is Normal Map Online, and this is Smart Normal. And I'm gonna show you how to use both so you can create other textures. Now this is coming from Smart Normal, and this is the texture I've selected to create my custom material, but you can get it any picture that you have in your computer and of a material, and you can create your own custom texture, starting with a diffuse channel like this. And be careful not to have like shadows or brighter parts. It should be like flat lining like this. And so I've chosen this one here, which is from DeviantArt, from this author right here. So you can see all the information right here. And I've looked for texture seamless metal to find this, and just choose here the license Creative Commons, and this come up in the first results. So I'm just gonna right click and save the image in my folder here that I created. You can see it's called Substance 3D Textures folder, and I saved this right here. And with this, I created the kind of a roughness material and also the normal. So I'm gonna show you shortly how to do that. So let me close everything else. Now, one last tip. When you search for textures that you wanna use to create your material, make sure you type seamless. Seamless means that you don't have seams, which means that you can repeat these textures many, many times. You won't see a seam between one repetition and the other. But you can also get rid of the seams, and you can do that again with the graphic design software like GIMP or Photoshop. Again, if you want to know more about all this stuff, well, you can search also in the channel. We have other tutorials about these websites and software that you can definitely have a look at, like Pixar and so on. Okay, now that we got some textures, it's time to have some models. And in this case, I want to show you another website, which is called TurboSquid. And you can see here you have all the different formats. So 3ds Max, Cinema 4D, Maya. Well, you need to have those software if you want to then export with a format that is also readable for Substance, and also Blender. And you have low poly models and also free models. Now, in the free models, I've searched for something that I could use. And for example, I found this Zippo lighter, which we can use as a first example. So just go there and sign in, create an account if you don't have it, and just download it with this orange button. And let's start with this slider. So let's go in Substance, create a new, and I'm gonna use this V-Ray Material Metallic Roughness as a starter asset. And there's the Zippo lighter right there. So I'm gonna open it up, discard this one, and we will see here that we still have some problems with the UV maps. So that's the lighter. And one useful thing is that everything is separated here. So we can address each single one of these. And if we switch in the 3D, 2D, we can see that some of these are correctly mapped like this, and some are not. For example, this part of the lighter is not well mapped. So if I start to paint on this, well, you can paint a little bit here in 3D, but if we paint in 2D, it's not quite, correct. So you need to make sure that your map is always looking good. Otherwise, it's gonna give you some troubles. Now,